A seismic shift is something that the mainstream media, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and even Wall Street heavyweights like BlackRock and JP Morgan do not want you to be aware of. It is important to be prepared for a shock since the next few minutes have the potential to completely transform your perspective on XRP, Ripple, and the whole cryptocurrency environment. This is not speculation. Rather, it is intelligence from insiders that has been assembled from movements and leaks that have already started shaking the pillars of traditional finance. Consider the following scenario. Entities with a total value of trillions of dollars are silently negotiating behind closed doors, whispering agreements, and executing plans that will propel holders of XRP to the position of silent monarchs of the coming financial revolution. But before we go any further, I need you to do one important step. You need to hit that subscribe button and push the notification bell. This is because the information that I am about to convey is time-sensitive and is not included in any mainstream report. All right, let's get the stage ready. Over the course of several years, XRP has been subjected to intense scrutiny, criticism, and legal challenges. Nonetheless, it has managed to persevere, and there is a good explanation for this. The ties that Ripple has with global financial heavyweights are not only business-related, rather, they are strategic, surgical, and calculated in order to get XRP ready for a momentous phase that has the potential to surpass all that the market has ever seen. Insiders are aware that key players, such as consultants to the International Monetary Fund and hedge funds with assets worth several billions of dollars, are secretly organizing liquidity flows that make XRP a direct target for institutional accumulation. This is despite the fact that the headlines are screaming uncertainty. Consider the following question. Why is BlackRock extending its exposure to blockchain settlements in a covert manner? What are the reasons behind the inclusion of Ripple's technology in the strategic planning documents written by international banks? These events are not a coincidence. The design for the next huge wealth transfer has been painstakingly created, and those who possess XRP are in the front row of the audience. Feel as though you've experienced volatility before? Be ready for a shock, because what is about to happen has the potential to completely reimagine what the phrase moonshot even means. This is not hype. Rather, it is the culmination of years of regulatory groundwork, strategic positioning that involves multiple billions of dollars, and agreements that take place behind the scenes that even the most aggressive crypto pundits are unable to spot. When you reach the conclusion of this video, you will have a better understanding of why the next wave of XRP might make previous rallies appear to be nothing more than minuscule ripples, why institutions are frantically trying to hold positions, and why ignoring this now could end up costing you a lot of money. Now that we have that out of the way, let's tackle the hard data, which are the kinds of numbers that the mainstream media would not even utter. While individual investors are seeing charts that remain unchanged, institutional investors are discreetly accumulating enormous stakes in XRP. XRP's liquidity measures have been experiencing a stealthy explosion. According to papers that have been leaked, firms associated with BlackRock and Vanguard have been increasing their exposure to XRP through derivative contracts and over-the-counter settlements at a rate that has never been seen before. This indicates a purposeful accumulation that has the potential to set the ground for a spectacular revaluation. The question you should ask yourself is, why are these institutions worth $1 trillion prepared to take positions that many analysts consider to be too risky? The answer is straightforward. They are able to see areas that you are unable to perceive, such as the network effect, banking integrations, and on-ramps that Ripple has secured with more than 200 financial institutions around the world. In other words, this is not merely acceptance. Rather, it is a comprehensive and system-wide integration into the foundation of international financial transactions, which is gradually replacing the monopoly held by SWIFT. Reports from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, provide hints about the possibility of digital currency standardization. Ripple is already positioned as a bridge asset, which is a fact that many regulators are painfully aware of but have not yet confirmed publicly. The data from Ripple's internal disclosures, when cross-referenced with filings with the SEC, demonstrate that significant escrow releases were timed perfectly with key partnership announcements. This is a strategy that screams institutional choreography. Consider the following. If there wasn't a more significant plan in motion, why would the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, suddenly start dropping clues of favorable resolutions after years of engaging in litigation? A chess game is being played here, with the pawns representing small retail holders and the kings and queens representing the mega institutions that are silently shifting billions of dollars. And here's the kicker. The volume of XRP that is being transferred between exchanges and private wallets held by institutional-grade players has increased by more than 400% in just the past 90 days alone. This is an anomaly that cannot be explained by retail trading or speculative excitement. These are genuine on-chain moves that scream one thing. XRP is being positioned for a big institutional liftoff. This is not a rumor. These movements are on-chain. It is important to keep in mind that the data is telling an entirely different picture if you come across charts that are skewed or hear false information from popular media. This is a tale of planning, accumulation, and a financial revolution that is taking place in slow motion, with XRP serving as the focal point. Now that we get that out of the way, let's talk about the obvious problem: the false information, the lawsuits, and the so-called regulatory uncertainty that causes retail investors to remain frozen in terror while institutions discreetly move mountains. Be ready for a rude awakening, because what the majority of people are referring to as a risk is, in reality, a trigger that has been expertly timed for the subsequent explosive phase. Ripple's ongoing conversations with the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, which have been portrayed for a long time as a danger, are actually being utilized as a strategic positioning instrument. Every delay and every uncertain ruling creates the suitable cover for institutional accumulation. Consider the following question. Why has Ripple been able to regularly get large banking relationships even in the midst of legal battles? As a result of the fact that they are playing chess in 4 dimensions, while the conventional narrative is locked in checkers. In the future, there will be triggers that are not hypothetical. They have already been programmed into the system. Cross-border settlements with major European and Asian banks are scheduled to go online this quarter, and internal Ripple documents show that these integrations might bring liquidity injections that dwarf the previous all-time highs of XRP. All of these integrations are expected to take place this quarter. Not to mention, you should not undervalue the effect that global heavyweights like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank are exerting in the background, as they are increasingly referring to blockchain assets as being vital to the future of digital banking. This is not a rumor. Rather, it is a technique created with the intention of generating a perfect storm in which the fear, uncertainty, and doubt FUD of casual spectators actually amplifies the buying pressure of serious participants. It is my intention to make it very evident that every bad headline you have read, such as XRP stalled or regulatory risk, is precisely what makes the subsequent move explosive. Institutions are profiting from people's lack of knowledge and fear, while the general public is selling into what has the potential to be the most significant price accumulation event in the history of cryptocurrency. This is the reason why the next 30 to 60 days are of the utmost importance. Stakeholders of XRP are in a position similar to that of coiled springs, and the combination of legal certainty, institutional adoption, and global financial positioning is going to unleash a momentum that the majority of investors are unable to even begin to comprehend at this point. You think it's just a bunch of hype? Take a look at the on-chain measurements, the escrow release timetables, and the trading patterns. Everything is aligned for a tremendous and unmistakable spike, and when it occurs, the narrative will change overnight. The uncertainty that is being referred to is actually the signal, the calm before the storm that only those who are already on the inside are prepared to take advantage of. Now that we have everything out of the way, let's speak about numbers. Numbers that are both practical and mind-bending, enough to make you question everything you thought you knew about the potential of XRP. A price trajectory that could easily surpass $100 per XRP is suggested by the conservative projections for XRP over the next 6 to 12 months. These projections are based on current institutional accumulation, adoption of cross-border transactions, escrow release schedules, and on-chain liquidity flows. If even a fraction of these developments go live as insiders anticipate, the price trajectory could easily surpass $100 per XRP. Yes, you read that correctly. $100 worth of XRP is not a fiction. It is mathematically consistent given the size of institutional positioning that we are witnessing and the market infrastructure that is necessary to support it currently exists. Consider the following question. How might trillions of dollars worth of global banking liquidity move through a network such as Ripple's without causing a significant revaluation of the native asset? Simple as it may sound, the answer is no. There is a great setting for a parabolic move because of the mix of scarcity brought about by escrow mechanics, strategic accumulation brought about by top-tier financial institutions, and unexpected liquidity injection brought about by live banking integrations. Nevertheless, here is the final caution. Timing is everything else. FUD, legal uncertainty, and so-called sideways markets are all examples of traps that are designed to prevent retail holders from successfully capitalizing on opportunities. In the event that you hesitate, you run the risk of falling behind as the intelligent money discreetly executes their positions. You need to be aware that the following weeks are not typical trading conditions. Rather, they are the build-up to an event of historic significance, and those who hold XRP are being granted a front-row ticket to witness it. This is your final opportunity to position yourself before the wave strikes, before the price rises quicker than anybody can react, and before the mainstream media constructs a narrative that makes you feel like you're late to the party. It is abundantly clear that the signals are clear. Institutional accumulation is at an all-time high. Global banking adoption is imminent. Regulatory clouds are clearing strategically, and on-chain liquidity patterns are screaming one thing: get ready for the launch of XRP into a financial orbit that will make all previous rallies appear insignificant. There is a question that you need to ask yourself that is quite straightforward. Are you going to sit on the sidelines and observe, or are you going to take action as the smart money quietly writes the next chapter in the history of cryptocurrency? Holders of XRP, the time has come, and hesitating could prove to be the most expensive error you make. In conclusion, those who possess XRP, what you have just heard is not hype, and it is not speculation. Rather, it is the convergence of institutional strategy, global financial adoption, and regulatory developments that have been properly scheduled. XRP is on the precipice of a historic breakout, and those who see this now will be the ones holding positions when the market finally catches up to reality. Every indicator, every on-chain action, and every discreetly conducted partnership all lead to the same truth. XRP is on the verge of a historic breakout. Forget about the noise from the mainstream, the fear, uncertainty, and volatility in the near term. These are all distractions that are designed to prevent you from seeing the wider picture. In spite of the fact that retail is hesitant, the evidence cannot be refuted. The catalysts are on the verge of occurring, and the institutions are already moving. Now is the time for you to take action and put yourself in a position to benefit from what has the potential to be the most remarkable wealth transfer in the history of cryptocurrency. Remember that the next move that XRP makes will be faster, greater, and more impactful than anything that we have seen before. And when it occurs, there will be no second chance to ride the wave from the front row. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, keep yourself updated, and remain watchful. Those who are taking this matter seriously should be ready to see financial history being made, because XRP is not just surviving. It is about to dominate, and the world is just starting to recognize it. Whether XRP will move is not the question. Rather, the question is whether or not you will be prepared when it does.